cabaret show do you perform, Tone?
Well, it all depends on the venue, really, Phil. But, I mean, the standard cabarets can range from 1 45 minutes or 2 45 minutes or 2-hour shows or 3 45 minutes. Music really of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, there's some 90s there. I'm doing some new tracks as we speak. So I tend to try to do a little bit for everybody. Yeah. And it can come in 2 costume changes and, you know, hopefully a lot of people will recognise some track from some of the eras. There's about 4 decades that I try to sing from.
That's great. The thing is, I know I've obviously helped you set up over the years, and I've got to be honest, the sound system that you use, the sounding and the lighting rigs, would put a lot of nightclubs to shame. I've got to be honest. You know, I use similar kit. You know, we use EV Sound Electro Voice, which is American made, and it's probably I'm being biased, but I would probably say it's the best sound you could probably buy. Would you agree with that, or?
Yes, I would do. Yes, I totally agree with that. I was introduced to the EVs in around 1989. You know, and you'll find that the likes of the Radio 1 road shows and the big performers, and even if you watch, you know, the big shows, you'll see the EV signs are actually out and about. You know, you've got the top end, the bass, and the mid-range and such like. And they're such a wonderful sound. They complement a very good singer, you know, because they're so pure. And, you know, when you put 4, 6 EVs together and a couple of bass bins, then you have got a wonderful sound. Yeah. And that's why so many top acts actually, you know, prefer to use them.
Yeah. I asked Roger Collins this because, as we all know, we know Roger Collins as well, another great DJ in the UK. I asked him how he found the translation from vinyl to CD now to laptop, because a lot of DJs are going iPod and laptop. How did you find the changeover? Were you happy to move forward?
Well, it was quite funny because I was adamant that I wouldn't come off vinyl. You know, I had 2 Technic turntables. I had a wonderful setup a few years ago, and I was adamant I wouldn't go off vinyl. But unfortunately, it was because of the industry change that forced me to go from vinyl to CD. And then again, really, the industry has forced my hand because a lot of the venues that I was going to buy my records and CDs changed, discontinued records, and also a lot of them now don't do singles. So you know, one is having to be forced onto a digital system, which is playing music through a laptop and downloading music rather than buying it from the shops, because there's very little choice now. Other than, you know, your albums, the CDs are very difficult to get hold of, Phil.
Sure, yeah. The thing is, would you, so basically, in a way, you kind of miss the old vinyl years, basically, for sure. Just out of interest, how did you kind of get into the old DJing thing? You know, is it something you wanted to do from school, or is it kind of an accident thing?
Well, I've always had something about me that I wanted to get into music. It was funny, my careers master said that I would never make a living out of it. Although I did do some other jobs, I did see my careers master only a few years ago at a country club I work, and he says, I know exactly what you're going to say. I was wrong, and you were right. You did make a career out of it. But you see, in school they never leaned towards that, because it was a job nobody thought you could make a living out of. Yeah. But the way I got into it really was my father was a manager of a cabaret club outside of Liverpool, about 20 miles outside Liverpool, and he was doing live acts such as, you know, well, they had the Beatles in the early days, and they had Dusty Springfield and Ken Dodds and quite a lot of other names there. And after the live cabaret, they used to have a disc jockey playing music of the time, 60s music, and they, you know, called it a discotheque. And that's what really got me into the feel of either live and playing these vinyl records.
Yeah, ideal. So obviously you were born in Liverpool. Am I right in saying that?
Well, I was actually born in Gloucestershire, but I actually moved just outside Liverpool when I was a very young boy, a couple of 3 years old. Yeah. And I was brought up outside Liverpool. We was about sort of 20, 25 miles on the Wirral. It's a little place just close to Park Gate, which has got a very famous history to it, which I won't bore you with. Yeah. But you know, it was a fantastic time in the mid to late 60s, because you had, you know, the Searchers, you had the Beatles, you had the Hollies, you had Dusty Springfield, Petula Clark. You had all this going on at a very exciting time, and I was very lucky to you know, see 1 or 2 of them, and also the radio stations were playing all this new music, and I also was lucky enough to see the original Cavern, and you know, I met some of these top groups who patted me on the head, as I recall, giving me threepence and sixpence in old money.
Yeah. Don't show your age, Tony. Come on.
No, I know. I promise I wouldn't do that.
So the thing is, just quickly, because I know you're very busy, Tony. With the karaoke, you've been doing karaoke for many, many years now. I couldn't put a year on it exactly, but is it more than 10 or about 10, give or take?
Oh God, Phil, it must be nearly 15 years. I suppose on and off karaoke.
Yeah. Do you think the things like the TV shows like X Factor and all that? Do you think it's actually encouraged more people to try to better themselves as singers, or do you find that they still come out and depress us with singing Celine Dion?
Well, it's very difficult, you see, Phil. Years ago, singers would have to go the old-fashioned way through music teachers, and if they had a talent, it would be sort of neutered. Nowadays, they get karaoke machines and they come to our karaoke shows. Some of them are awful. One or two that wouldn't normally come into it turn out to be quite little gems.
Yeah.
But maybe the X Factor now is just getting a bit too much. But some of the karaoke singers that come to some of the shows are very poor. But then I suppose, in a way, that's part of the charm, the enjoyment for the audience to see.
Yeah, sure.
Why they don't sing too many songs.
Yeah. I think as we both do karaoke, and I'm sure a lot of entertainers who listen to our shows can kind of sympathise. And the thing is, as entertainers, we can't be Simon Cowell. We can't be, we can't object to it. We can't put people down. We're there to give them a good time at any cost. Even if it does hurt our ears, so to speak, doesn't it? But it's a good thing. And like I said, you've been doing it since '81, and like a lot of entertainers, some of them have dropped out. Some of the older DJs, they've left, or for whatever reason, health problems or this and that. But you're still doing extremely well, as is Roger Collins and a few other DJs. Was there any DJs that you kind of looked up to, growing up, or was it, radio DJs or disc jockeys?
Yeah, really. When I heard the first broadcast on Radio 1, I can remember that. As a young lad, the amazing voice of Tony Blackburn, the excitement, the enthusiasm of it, and David Hamilton came across, and then you went on to the pirate stations. I very much like 208, that was Luxembourg, the Luxembourg.
Yeah, Radio Luxembourg,
on Tuesday night. But that was the main ones, and the local ones, I used to like a guy called Vernon Francis, who was a very, very good disc jockey, Dave Chance from the old Penventon days, and also Roger Collins. They all had different aspects to what I enjoyed. They did more than just play records. They would entertain the crowd with a little different twist. So each of them, they're the three local disc entertainers I really sort of.
Just as everyone knows, in the UK, we've had all the snow and this ice problem. Did it cause you much of a problem as an entertainer? Because as entertainers, we've got to travel quite a lot to all our venues. What kind of problems did it give you?
Well, I did lose one night because it was just too bad to get out of my drive, and it was too bad. The roads were too bad, and the venue had to close because the main road in the town I worked was bad. So we lost one night. But the other night I was very lucky, 2 or 3 friends picked me up at the end of the road because the main roads were open. I managed to get to work. So I managed to get to 99% of my bookings. However, had it gone on another week or so, that might have been a different story.
Sure. Tony, it's been great talking to you. Basically, today it was off the cuff. Basically, I've had no set questions for you, so it's all off the cuff. I know you've been very busy today, running around. It's been lovely to talk to you, mate. I will catch you again. We'll have to get you in for a proper interview and go more in depth about the people you've worked with, and maybe get some juicy stories from these acts. I'm sure you've got lots, haven't you?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, Phil. Well, thank you very much, Phil, and all your listeners, and wish them all a very happy New Year. And again, I'll perhaps come in and talk to you all another time.
Okay, Tony, thank you ever so much.
Okay, many thanks.
Cheers, Tony. Bye.
Bye.